Hello and welcome. We're going to take a look at Logbook Pro for iPhone and iPad version 2.3. This is a brief roll-up video showing some of the major new features in the new release version 2.3. So let's get started. We're looking at an iPhone simulator on an Apple Mac computer. What we've got is no data here in the device. What I'm going to show you are some of the new features. First, on the home screen, you'll see that we have a new My Subscription row where you can tap that. It will show your device ID, your subscription expiration, etc. Previously, it was in the bottom of the About screen. It still is there, but it is just now a little easier and more recognizable for you to find your schedule, your cloud sync information. So let's take a look at the first major feature, and this is in the flight screen. And what you're going to see is the out, takeoff, land, and in, also known as UI for out, off, on, in fields, no longer use the spinning wheels. Instead, when you want to set a time, just tap the row, and what it's going to use is your flight date. So there's our flight date. Now, because you could be logging in Zulu, UTC, or GMT, whichever you want to call it, you could actually have a condition where your out date, if you will, any of the times here could have a slightly different date than the actual flight log date, depending on how you're logging flights. Now, on the right hand side, all right, so that's how you can change the date if needed. Usually you won't need to. And then for the time, it's going to come up with the current local time. Now it's going to be in 24-hour format, and it will still use the same offsets as before. We'll still remember your last entry, so it will flow the time. So if you're entering multiple flights, your out time is going to be based off of your last in time, etc. So you won't have to offset from local each time. Anyways, you can backspace to make any changes as you need. You can tap the X on the right to clear the data and just enter the values. And as you can see, there's no need for a colon or anything like that. Just enter the time in 24-hour format. So you can enter 23:59. And then you don't have to, you can just scroll and tap each, and you can see that the times are going to roll. It will automatically adjust the date if you cross midnight, etc. So real simple system here to enter your UI times. Just tap into the field, backspace, or tap the X. And that's all you have to do. So the time format has to be a valid 24-hour format. And that's all you need. And you can see some information down here. Tap plus or minus to adjust the date. Tap time, which is the time field, to enter in a 24-hour format. You'll see one other change here. It actually indicates to you, based on what your settings, flight log preference is. If we change this to GMT, and we come back into log a flight, you'll see it will actually tell you that your UI times are in GMT. So it's going to be helpful to inform you based on what your settings are, so that you can log the times appropriately based on your time zone setting. The other major new feature is a time calculator. Had some feature requests where airline pilots typically are flying multiple legs in a day, or a CFI. You're flying multiple flights in a day. Maybe you want to just log one flight log entry. Call that by day versus by leg. By leg is each stop, from to, and a duration, from to, and a duration. Those are all separate flight entries. In Logbook Pro, since our route of flight is a free-form entry field, you can put all of your identifiers in and just make a single entry. Well, some people have a hard time adding up, what is my total duration going to be? So this time calculator is added in version 2.3. So let's show you how that works. It's real simple. You just have a start and end time, and then tap add interval, and you can see we've got 2 hours. Add interval. We've added 3.4, and it's keeping track of our total. So what happens if you cross midnight? Let's say we take off at 10 o'clock, which is 2200, and we put in 0236. It knows that if your end time is lower than your start time, it's going to cross midnight. So you can see it automatically calculated 4.6, and there's our total. We can tap clear and start over if we need to. We can tap edit and actually delete a value out if we need to, or we can just swipe horizontally and delete a value out, and you can see our duration value has adjusted. Now if we tap back, the value, the total, is going to be presented here for your reference. So you can enter that in your duration or anything that you might be calculating. So use that as necessary. You can come back and you can add more values. And if you're using iOS 4 and you're still flying throughout the day, you can just suspend the app and then go off and fly your flight, your next leg, come back to the time calculator. And add that. I'll also show you that these fields are not going to let you enter an invalid time. You can't start a time with a 3. You can't have a 29 value. You can't have a 24 value. You have 2359 or 0, 400, etc. So the field is smart and it knows what the correct 24-hour formats are, so you cannot input an UI time that is incorrect. So that's the second major feature. The first one, as I showed you, was the new format for entering date and times, and then we have the time calculator. Another feature in version 2.3, in the settings, synchronization, on the bottom, if you're using iOS 4, is a new on-demand sync capability. As you are probably familiar with, you can sync from anywhere in the app other than the home screen using a 2-finger vertical swipe, either up or down, or you can, anywhere in the app, double tap to sync. So if you double tap on this gray area, we'll sync. So we can actually turn those off if you don't want to use those, or maybe you just want to use the double tap and you don't want to use the swipe, or vice versa, or you're finding that you're tapping and synchronizing when you don't intend to. You can control those now in the settings synchronization area. As I just mentioned, the time calculator, maybe it's not something you want to use. You can come into the flight log, go to the bottom to configure display, and you will see the time calculator is something that you can hide from the flight screen. So you can make the flight screen nice and concise to only show what you need. We've got a brand new database system in version 2.3. So it's for higher capacity, more reliability, faster. The application itself is much faster. You'll notice even on the old iPod Touch 2G devices, you'll notice your startup time of the app will be much faster, probably cut in half. And your iPad 2s, which are the fastest devices available right now on the Apple side, you'll notice really rapid startup. The synchronization system is now real-time, is much more responsive, so when you tap sync, you'll see the synchronization bar occur almost right away, and the green bar will actually be a better indication now of the actual time it takes to synchronize. So we've tweaked some settings there to keep that running great. Those are the major features. You can look on the Apple App Store for 2.3 to see the revisions, but the major items really are the new database system, which is nothing you can see, but you'll notice that things will be running faster, more reliably, etc. But the biggest item here is the new input method for UI times and the time calculator for those that like to log by day. If you have any questions, feel free to give us a shout. You can email us direct at support@nc-software.com. Be sure to review the documentation, which has been updated for version 2.3. Just go to logbookpro.com/docs/iPhone. Thank you for watching.